So, we have the opportunity of a message to come forth at this moment in time. This month, we have been playing with the ideas and the information found in Deepak Chopra's book, which I brought with me. I'm going to reach down here and get it. It's called Power, Freedom, and Grace. And today, I'm choosing the grace part to highlight in our topic. And it was so beautiful when James came up and said, well, what do you want me to sing? I could do this one, that I wrote about grace and the arms of grace, the hands of grace. And I said, that's perfect. That's what we're talking about. God works in beautiful ways. The one I wanted to start with this whole topic, though, this morning about is the idea in this book, there is an underlying woven theme that he establishes throughout each and every chapter, revisits it almost in each and every chapter, and that there is this unified field of energy. And if you've ever read Deepak Chopra, that's one of his major themes, is that this unifying field of energy is. And it is all. It is in and of and as everything. Everything. And then the fact that it's just not all and everything, but that it eternally is. Always has been, always will be. Now, with our teaching in Science of Mind, that sounds like the first two steps to me of our treatment, because it's all God, it's all good, it's all love. And guess what? That means it's me. That means it's you. We are that substance in expression. And guess what? We've been doing it forever. We have always been this substance, and we will always be this substance. Doesn't that take a load off your mind? Doesn't that just make you feel like, oh gosh, I'm glad that's handled? I don't have to figure it out because I am in this flow of energy. Tagar, I can't say his first name, Rabinotharist, I can't say it very well. Anyway, Tagore is his last name. He said, he summarizes the miracle of life more beautifully than science can explain it. He says, the same stream of life that runs through my veins night and day runs through the world and dances in rhythmic measures. It is this same life that shouts in joy through the dust of the earth in numberless blades of grass and breaks into tumultuous waves of leaves and flowers. It is the same life that is rocked in the ocean cradle of birth and of death, in ebb and in flow. I feel my limbs are made glorious by the touch of this world of life. And my pride is from the life throb of ages dancing in my blood this moment. Ooh. Now, to me, that says somebody that really gets the big picture. That really understands and feels that connection with all. That there is more to me than just what I see in the mirror housed in this body form. I am part of all of life. And it is infinite. Deepak goes on to say that to have the experience of the life throb of ages dancing in your blood this moment is to have the experience of joy, the experience of connectedness to the cosmos. This is the healing experience. It is the experience of being whole, and to be whole is to live in grace. So many of us have these ideas of what is grace. And grace to me is that interconnectedness of life itself, where there is a wholeness, there is an allness, And it is so safe and so secure and so serene. And we, in our humanness, tend to get fragmented, tend to think we are separate, and that we have to make it happen and do it all ourselves. And what we want to remember and realize today in particular is that grace is. And grace always is holding us in its hands. Always. We have a safety net that will never let us down. As I was thinking earlier this week, at one point, I was thinking, now how can I love? How can I love better? And then immediately, this voice came in and said, that's the wrong question. I could hear Michael Beckwith right now. That's the wrong question. You don't ask how. He says, people always ask, how do you meditate? That's not the question to ask. You don't ask how to meditate. You ask, what is meditation? And when you know what is meditation, then you will know how to do it. So I thought, how can I love? Wrong answer, wrong question. What is love? Well, that's easy. 2 Corinthians. Love is patient. Love is kind. And I went, yeah. That's how I love. To be patient. To be kind. And yet, my monkey mind, ego, says, but I don't have time for that. I'm in too much of a hurry. I've got to get things done. I don't have time to be patient. I don't have time to be kind. I just want to get this done. And then it hit me as I was working on this talk and these ideas that were coming forth, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I have to start and practice and be kind and be patient to me. I have to love me. I have to be patient with me. I have to be kind to me before I can ever share that with anyone else. And in a way, that's a tall order, because we have been so, habitually practicing this idea of separation, of not enough, of unworthiness, of when am I going to get better at blah, 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 blah. And when we go back to this energy, this essence of grace, it doesn't judge us. It doesn't criticize us. It accepts us just as we are. Just as we are. I have the Louise Hay calendar. You've been tearing those pages off like I have. And there was one earlier this week that said, patience is being at peace with the process of life. Patience is being at peace with the process of life. To remember to feel that knowingness that this life is eternal, that I have all the time in the world because I'm not going anywhere. I've always been here. I'll always be wherever I am to be, however it looks, and all is well. And as I was thinking of I've revived some of my CDs. We're going to be, we're changing up our service. I don't know if you've noticed that or not. If you've been sitting in these seats, you notice things are a little different. And so I've come out and I've refound some of my CDs that had just been sitting, collecting dust, and I love them. And one of them is a CD by Carol Logan, and they're chants. And what we're going to be doing is introducing these into our meditative time in our services. So next Sunday, at our meditation time, you'll be able to have more singing, if you wish, by chanting some of these chants that are on Carol's CD. And I wanted to share with one of them with you now, because in his book, and I'll give you the signal when, he had a quote by Ramakrishna, and it said, "The winds of grace are always blowing. It is for us to raise our sails." And so I'd like you to hear this chant that Carol Logan has done, and we'll play with this more. And is that it? Okay, there's an intro to it. I don't think that's it. That's not it. Choose another one. That's a great one, though, isn't it? If there be a paradise of bliss, this is it. Well, obviously, this is the one we're supposed to hear this morning. Well, here, turn it off and I'll sing it for you. This is what I wanted you to hear. The winds of God are blowing, unfurl your sails. Now, she says God, but he said grace, but you can interchange them. The winds of God are blowing, unfurl your sails. The winds of God are blowing, unfurl your sails. The winds of God are blowing, unfurl your sails. The winds of God are blowing, unfurl your sails. And that's it. It just goes on and on. So we are in this grace. He says grace or God. It's the same thing, God and grace. We are in this grace of God, and all we need to do is open our sails. All we need to is get into the flow of it. There's a story in the book that Deepak shared. He was walking on the beach with his 4-year-old granddaughter. And he said to her, "Tara, I love you so much." And she said, "How much?" She's a 4-year-old. He said, "Well, more than the stars and the moon." And of course, she said, "Why?" And he said, "Because you came from there." And she said, "How?" "You know, Tara, when you eat your fruits and vegetables, it's the light of the sun and the stars and the moon that made the food you eat. And when you eat the food, you're taking the light of the stars to make your body, because everything comes from the light. Even your eyes are made of the light. The stars made your eyes so they could see themselves." And she thought for a while, and then she said to him, "Grandpa, look up. The stars want to see themselves." What a concept, to be able to see that connectedness of life, to know that we're not apart. We're not separate from anything. And so in the book, he talks about these elements of grace, and that one of them is synchronicity and coincidences. And actually, that's the second sign, he says, of grace. The first sign of knowing that you're connected to your source is that you have a lack of worry. He says you feel lighthearted, you feel happy. And actually, isn't that what we talked about last week? If you missed it, it'll be on our website. Happiness. That's our job. And so he says you don't get offended and don't experience resistance to anything. The second sign, though, that you're connected to source, that you have your sails open, you have that grace going, is that synchronicity happens. And he talks about the fact that there is a pure consciousness of organizing consciousness, having everything happen all at once simultaneously in the universe. We're not doing it, we're part of it, right? And so he says that the word chronos means time. And so that everything is synchronized. And so if you are in sync with the infinite, then you are in sync with time, with the events that are happening in your life. I mean, I'm sure that all of you know that things just happen out of coincidence. Well, he says, be aware of those coincidences. They aren't just happenstance. They were there because you were placed in that perfect and right time, in that perfect place. It wasn't just happenstance. You did it because that was your consciousness. So it was interesting. I want to tell you about this story that happened to me. It was on Friday. So, I have this day job. I'm actually down to 4 days a week now. At the insurance place. I write commercial insurance. And I have a policy. You write a policy and it goes for 12 months and then it has to renew on a specific date, and all that. Deadlines are important. And so I had the California Hair Design Academy that is next door to the Vons there in La Mesa coming up for renewal. And I had presented this great quote to them. It was fantastic, and I'd emailed them all the information, and I needed to pick up a check, and I needed to get signed documents. And I had emailed them, and the gal that I contact with, and then the owner, somebody else, and you got to go through these people. So I had sent that all off, and then I decided I was going to take my lunch. Before lunch, though, my coworker was telling me that Starbucks was giving free iced tea on Friday between 1 and 2 o'clock at all of their locations. And so my coworker was saying, yeah, I kind of like to do that. She says, but I bet you the lines are just going to be so long, take forever, take out my lunch hour, just go through the line, da-da-da. And I thought about it for a little bit. I thought, okay, well, that'd be kind of nice to have a tea, but I didn't really think too much more of it. So I get in my car. So I usually leave about 12:30 for lunch, but I had to do other things, so I didn't get away till about 1. So I thought, well, what am I going to do? What am I going to do for lunch? I usually run little errands or something. And I thought, so I had this party yesterday, right? And I don't know if you noticed, but there was some beautiful silver there on the tables. And I had to polish my silver. And I didn't have any silver polish. So I had to go buy silver polish. And I'm thinking, where am I going to go buy silver polish? I don't even know where they have silver polish anymore. I haven't bought silver polish in years. And I bet you the Vons will have it. So I step into the Vons, and my phone, buzzes. And it's my coworker saying, Bonna just says that the check and the documents are ready for pickup, which is right next door to the Vons. I looked at that. I looked up. I see Bonna in line, actually at the counter, at the Starbucks, getting her free iced tea. So I walk up to her and said, I just understand you've got the documents already and you're getting your tea. I think I'll get one too. So we got the tea, we went over, we picked up the documents, the check. I came back, I found the polish was right there where she told me on the top of the shelf, all that business. And I just thought, wow, now that was just cool. It was so simple, so easy. It was just like in the flow. Everything just was going super. And to me, that's what the grace is when we know that life just flows and happens, and we don't have to make it happen. We don't have to have just put it out there. There's so many wonderful little energy joy guides and angels, and I don't know what you want to call them, out there on duty, ready to fulfill our requests. But we need to ask. We need to put the intention out there and say, hey, wouldn't this be cool? I'd like to have an iced tea. I'd like to have a free iced tea. Sure. And that's what it takes. So I wanted you, and then the third sign that you are living in the source is to know that you are a creator. he says, you know that every situation, every relationship, every event you experience is mirroring something inside you. When you don't like what's happening in your world, you don't try to correct it by looking outside yourself. That would be like polishing the leaves of a plant instead of watering the roots. So, as I look at myself and I think, how can I love more? I go back to what is love, and love is patient, and love is kind. And every time I see something out here in my experience that is unlike that, it's just an opportunity for me to go back in myself and say, where is my disconnection? Where am I stopping the love that I am by being critical, by being impatient, by being judgmental? Where can I just let it go? So our main job to me, and it's actually, as I read The Science of Mind this morning, the Daily Word Science of Mind, one sentence really hit me. It said, that's our main job, to stay in our loving. It is not easy when we get triggered by someone who does something or says something that touches an unhealed place inside of us. So when something happens and we get triggered and our button gets pushed, it's actually just bringing forth the opportunity to realize that there's something within me that just needs to be healed, needs to be remembering that I am whole. It's all about me. Our lives are. That we are giving out this energy of essence that we are, and if we block it up, then we get to learn how to let it be revealed more and more easily so that we are in that flow of synchronicity that happens. I get an email from a friend, not every day, but sometimes, intermittently. And some of them I just think are fabulous, and I've printed off this one. It's called The Daily Motivator by Ralph Marston. Is anybody else aware of that? I didn't realize. I went on their website today. I've never been on the website. I just get these emails. And I will be sending in my subscription. You can subscribe to it for a year for $15. And I tell you, his messages are amazing. And this one was from June 13th, and I wanted to share it because I thought it so fit in today's message. It says, give life your love. And when you look on the internet, what's so great about it is they're just bullet point sentences, but there's a video, a picture of something that goes with each sentence. So you'll see that. It says, you don't have to know everything that's happening right now. You don't have to fix everything that's broken right now. Your purpose is not served by reacting to every little twist and turn of events. Your purpose is served by taking the time to love, to learn, to know, to care deeply and confidently. Urgent matters of this moment are immediately replaced by urgent matters of the next moment. Eventually, you will realize not one of those breathlessly urgent matters really matter. Let peace fill you. And with that sense of peace, step away from the clutter, the chatter. Though you hear the words, see the glitter, feel the tension, none of it has to get to you. Life is better to you when you are patient with it. And patience is always possible for you, no matter what the rest of the world is doing. What matters is love. Call upon your patience, your kindness, your purpose, and give life your love. That's what we're about. It's just sharing this love we are, in this divine grace that we're in. Just letting it happen, letting it flow. Open your sails this week. And let that flow of grace carry you through these synchronistic, beautiful events of life. You are a blessing, and you are blessed by life itself. And so it is. Namaste. I love you.